Alright, number 4, solve by completing the square. Believe it or not, a couple of you tried to factor this problem. But when it says you have to solve by completing the square, you have to do what the directions say. You didn't get many points if you factored it. I think you got 1. Okay, look at this one. Completing the square, you know it's quadratic. That means you're going to get 2 answers. Most of you didn't get 2 answers. I'm not sure if anyone did actually. And it's in the wrong order. The x squared term needs to come first. So we're going to rearrange it. X squared minus 6x, and we're going to complete the square at the same time. Because we know 5 is not a perfect square, so it won't help to bring it back to the other side because it's not a perfect square. We don't need to divide everything by a number because the coefficient of the x squared term is 1. If it were 2 or 3 or any other number but 1, we would have to divide every term by that coefficient. So we have it set up. To complete the square is we're going to find a perfect square that fits in there. And the way that we do that is we look at the x term, we take the number, the coefficient, we divide it by 2 and square it. So it's going to be 6 divided by 2 is 3, 3 squared is 9. And we're going to add it to both sides. Since it's a perfect square trinomial, we can factor it into x minus 3 quantity squared, which would be x minus 3 times x minus 3 if we factored it. But we can just go right to the step. Equals 4. Now to get the x by itself, we have to take the square root of both sides. Here's where I lost some of you. When you take the square root, you have to do the plus or minus square root of both sides. This, though, just frees it so you get x minus 3. These cancel out. And this would be plus or minus 2. Because it's plus or minus the square root of 4, the square root of 4 is 2. We have a plus or minus because 2 squared is 4 and negative 2 squared is 4, so you're going to get 2 answers. Now we just add 3 to both sides, so we get x equals 3 plus 2, and we have x equals 3 minus 2. Just remember, when you take the square root of something, it has to be plus or minus, because when you square a negative number, you get that number. When you square the positive number, you get that number. So you get x equals 5 and x equals 1. Those are the 2 answers. You can always check them by putting them back in and see if you get the correct answer on both sides. You get negative 5 equals negative 5. Okay, next one, our radical. When you see radicals in radicals, you have to think fractional exponents. So, and we have to have the same bases. We have a 9 and a 3. So, first of all, we need to get the bases the same. So 9 is the same as 3 squared. 3, the cube root of 3 is 3 to the 1/3 power. And both of these are under a radical. This would be 2, the index would be 2. So it would all be to the 1/2 power. Now if I would have left this a 9, there's not much we could have done with these because the bases are the same. But because the bases are the same, we can add our exponents. You can either add your exponents right here and take it times 1/2, or distribute your 1/2. Let's just distribute the 1/2. So 1/2 times 2 is 1, so we have 3 over 1. And 1/3 times 1/2 is 1/6. Some of you forgot and started adding 1/2 and 1/3. But remember, you multiply power to power. When the bases are the same, you add your exponents. So this is the same as 6/6. 1 is the same as 6/6. So your final answer is 3 to the 7/6. I like those. Okay, down here, same idea. We have a base to an exponent. So we're going to work backwards. We're starting with an answer like this, and we're going back to an answer like that. First thing you'll notice is it has a negative exponent. We don't like negative exponents, so you're going to put that on the bottom. I just put in all the steps, and we made it positive. Remember, when we're going into radicals, this is the bottom. The bottom sits on the seat, so we have the 4th root of 16, and I'm going to put the 5th out here. And then we're going to simplify, so this is 1 over the 4th root of 16, so what times what times what times what gives you 16, and it's 2 to the 5th, and so we get a final answer of 1 over 32. That one's not too bad either. Alright, on to the last one on this board. This is something that we did like the first week of class, and you won't believe how many of you missed this. Usually, I think no one missed more than 1 point on this one. You just have to be really careful in these. Like first thing I might do is when I have something to the 0 power, I might just cross that out and put my 1 there. And go across and just put all my 1s. Is there any other ones? Here we go. Make sure I copied it correctly. Okay, now I'm just going to distribute the whole way across. So it's going to be -2 plus 2. I took negative times a negative, and it should be positive. Negative times a negative. It doesn't, because this is the 0 power, this negative isn't to the 0 power, so it stays there, so it's a -1. So negative times negative is positive, negative times a negative is positive, negative 6x, negative times a negative will be a positive 1, equals minus 2x, this would be 9, so it would be minus 9x, minus 2x, plus 2x, plus x. Negative times a negative is positive, negative is positive. So now this is a basic Algebra 1 problem. So we're going to add, this is going to be 4 plus 1 is 5 minus 6x equals, let's get it, these would cross out. So we're going to get, that would be a -11. These all have x's unless I copied something wrong. -11 plus x would be -10x. Then we're going to, let's see, apparently I made some sort of mistake. -3x times -1 would be a positive 3x. My mistake. So we're going to have a 4 here and a minus 3x here. Make sure you do that right when you copy this down. Minus 3x times -1 is 3x. So we're going to add 3x to both sides. So 4 equals -7x, and divide both sides by -7. And we get x equals -4/7. That one almost caught me. All right.